Hey everyone, welcome to Cooking with Lauren. Today we're going to make, well, key star falafels, but we're going to do a whole bunch of little side dishes around with that. So it's going to make you an entire meal. We'll start with making some falafels, and then we'll go into making some hummus, and then after some hummus, we'll make a little bit of like a basic salad to go with it. So for all of this, you're going to need chickpeas. If you're doing dried chickpeas, then do 2 cups of dried chickpeas that are soaked, some tahini, lemon, some tomatoes, cucumber, garlic, an onion, 2 types of parsley, mint, a little bit of lettuce, some red onion, salt, pepper, cumin, coriander, and some feta, baking powder. And then for the very end, when we're frying the falafels, we're going to use some peanut oil. Now, you can either bake these or fry these, but for today's purposes, the person that we're cooking for preferred that they be fried. So now we're going to start combining our falafel. So before we start anything, when we put our falafel mixture together, it needs to sit in the fridge for about an hour to let everything kind of set in. So what do I have in here? I have a 1.5 cups of chickpeas that I have soaked previously for 12 hours. Then I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, because that'll soften the mixture when it's fried or cooked. Then I have 4 cloves of garlic, half of a small onion. So it's about this big. We're not huge like onion flavor lovers in this household, so you decide if you want to use more or less. That's the other thing. If something you think doesn't taste good in your normal falafel, the advantage of making it at home is you can adjust that flavor profile. We also have a tablespoon of cumin, a teaspoon of coriander, a cup of parsley. I'm using curly leaf for this one. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And now we're gonna blend it all up till it's still coarse, and then we're gonna mold it into our balls and put it in the fridge, or you just keep it in the bowl and mold it as you're frying or baking. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how coarse your falafel mixture should be. It's probably a lot coarser than you think it should be. We're not trying to make it really smooth, right? We want some grit, we want some texture in it. So keeping it a little bit gritty, and now it's going to sit in the fridge for up to an hour. So while our falafel is chilling in the fridge, we are going to make some hummus. So use the remaining amount of chickpeas, and what you're gonna do is give them just a quick boil. You can even soften them with a little bit of baking soda if you'd like, into the water. But once they're boiled and they're soft, you're going to transfer them into a food processor, add some cumin. So we use a teaspoon of cumin, a little bit of salt to your taste, 2 tablespoons of tahini, which is like a sesame seed paste, similar to peanut butter, but made by sesame seeds. A squeeze of lemon. So we used about the juice of half a lemon. And then you're going to blend it, adding a little bit of water if you need a different consistency. Now let's talk about garlic for a second. So for this garlic, I just quickly roasted it till they're like kind of like a caramelized color. And I roasted it in a little bit of avocado oil for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees. And then you throw it in, and if you like garlic, that's gonna make your hummus a lot better. So now we're going to heat our oil, preparing it for our falafel. Now we need to make sure that the oil is hot enough. So I have it in a wok. You can use whatever kind of deep pan or pot you want to use. Just make sure like you're aware that you're heating up oil, so it's a little dangerous. So make sure that the walls are high enough so that it can reduce the splatter. And then when we check it to see if it's hot enough, we're just gonna stick a toothpick, or depending on how deep it is, a chopstick if they're wooden, to the bottom. And then once it starts to bubble around the wood, you know that your oil is hot enough. While our oil is heating, we have one final side we're going to put together. It's really quick, it's just a really easy salad. So I mentioned at the beginning that you had 2 types of parsley. So now your flat parsley and your mint are going to come in. Some regular lettuce, some romaine, a little bit of cucumber, a tomato, and then if you like, some feta cheese. Now, let's talk about this for a second, because there's no real recipe. It's just kind of how much you want. So even there's a little bit of red onion too, I forgot to mention, and it's kind of depends on how you like your flavors. So if you don't like mint, then don't put very much of it in. I put about half a romaine lettuce. I put a half a cup of flat parsley. I put 2 tablespoons of chopped mint because I'm not a huge mint fan. 1 tomato, and then some feta cheese. And then I used about 1/8 of a red onion. Now, when it comes to the dressing, I haven't dressed all of this because we're feeding 3 people here. One of them is a vegan, so he's not gonna eat the cheese. The second one doesn't like tomatoes, so those are off to the side. I'll eat it all. So we're gonna make 3 different types when we're plating all this, and I'll show you all that. But now onto the dressing. So I can't dress it all at once. I'm gonna dress it separately. But the dressing is just like the salad. It's kind of all thrown together. I didn't mention to you olive oil in your ingredients at the very beginning, but this has about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Then we put in a tablespoon of that tahini again, a little bit more lemon. So I used the juice of another half a lemon, salt, pepper, 1 clove of garlic is grated in there. And then we just mix it all together. And now you can just throw together your dressing depending on how much dressing you want on your salad and plate it around your hummus. And we'll show you that in a second. So now we're gonna fry our falafels just till they're like a golden brown like that. So make sure that your oil isn't too hot, but it is hot enough. So I have mine on medium high. So we're gonna put it in. Just watch it go all bubbly. Turn it a couple times to make sure that you can see it so that it's not over frying. And then you can see my makeshift little frying tray, just so that it doesn't sit in oil or on wet paper towel after. So it's almost there, and it's been about 30 seconds. We're just gonna go a little bit longer. You don't want any dry falafel, so you don't want to over fry yours. Perfect. Now I can go here. So now we're just gonna plate everything. So we put some hummus in the middle. I've sprinkled it with a little bit of olive oil. The salad is divided into the 3 types. So the one with no tomato, the one with no feta, and then the one with both tomato and feta. And it's just, I sprinkled a little bit of dressing over top and then place the falafels just around. Now, I don't eat these, but you might really like them. We're just using some pitas, so people can kind of eat it however they like. So now the falafel's ready. So I guess the person that we're feeding can come out of their hole. And there he is in all his shining glory.